Hey, what's happening, YouTube? How are you? Hiker Dave NE here. Thank you so much for coming by. I got some questions that I want to ask you guys. I get a lot of questions on my channel, and I'd like to get some of your opinions on some of the questions that I have that bug the heck out of me. So, let's refer to Hiker Dave's journal, of course, and we'll jump right into it. Or at least after I put on my specs, because I'm old now. So, check it out. A couple of these questions I have asked before on my channel, and I think that I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one that has these questions, but let's run down some of them regardless. My first question is pertaining to right now, this time of year. Where does Bigfoot go in the winter? That is a big question of mine, because I ran into this issue last year when I was hiking or exploring. And, as far as people, I know some old geezers that will go down south. They call them snowbirds. They'll go from up north in the cold weather and retreat back to the south to avoid the cold weather. Now, we all know that I don't think that. Actually, who knows, right? Maybe they migrate to more southern parts of the country. I joke about it, but maybe that's a thing. Maybe they do go south. But I was wondering maybe to get your opinion on that. I mean, in all seriousness, I have a hard time finding any kind of, how do I put this lightly? I sometimes I have a feeling that something's around me or near me, and I don't think that's any different than anybody else. Everybody has kind of that sixth sense. And lately, since the real cold weather has come, we haven't had a lot of snowfall here in southern New England. Actually, I think all winter we've only had 2 inches, the whole entire winter so far. But do they get away? Go deeper into the forest, higher up into the mountains, to actually avoid the snow, which, would explain the lack of prints. I have found prints in the snow before, I think late 2017 or early 2018. I found 2 small tracks in the snow. It was either a smaller Bigfoot, or it was a little kid running around out in the woods in the snow with no socks or shoes on. So, I don't know. I find it easier to explain. The old Occam's razor, right? The simpler the answer is most likely the one. And to think that maybe a little kid was out there and had a pebble in his boot and, took his sneaker or his boot and his sock off and lost his balance while ejecting the pebble from his boot and his foot hit the ground. I think it's just a lot simpler than that. I think that it was a juvenile that inadvertently was following a trail of other hikers. There was boot marks, dog prints. This was kind of off to the side. I had the theory that maybe it just made a mistake and it stepped off that trail into some fresh snow. But the question for me is, it seems like their activity slows way down in the winter, and I don't know if they're just less active, which probably is the case, less active in the winter. Another question I have here. Bigfoot and its hunting. So, I've questioned before. I think I've put the question out there to you guys, how do you think they hunt? If they hunt in packs, if they work with each other, they use choke points and ambush methods, or do they just merely a single Bigfoot just chases one down and grabs it? And I've heard on some other YouTube channels that they would find a deer with its legs broken, that possibly Squatch will chase it down, break its legs so it won't get that, so it doesn't escape. I'm not sure if it would even need to do that. I mean, if it's there's been other sightings, first-hand accounts, where people have seen Bigfoot just walking with a deer under its arm, and I'm not sure if it would need to break its legs. If it can catch up to it and grab it and break its neck, I don't see the reason for it. But who knows, right? That could be a thing. I mean, do they group hunt? I mean, because you're talking deer, elk, moose. This is big prey. For us, it is. And so it's not like, let's grabbing a squirrel off a branch. There needs to be, I would think, a coordinated effort within a group. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. So here's another question that I have. I had another question, but I'm going to avoid it because it's a weird Bigfoot. It's geographical differences in its demeanor and stuff like that. And are they meaner down south, or are they more docile up north, or maybe out west they're a little more aggressive, or are they more aggressive up north? I'm going to avoid that question though for now. Water crossings, Bigfoot swimming. You would think that they have got to one point or another river cross, or cross a small pond or a lake, or I don't know, aside from going around one, and crossing highways. And I can drive down a highway. I'll go up north to my big brother Bob's house, and I see sign all along the side of the highway. And anytime I'll see a tree or a log all by itself sitting in where the clearing is right before a tree line, I never see it near a bridge. Let me back up. So I'll see these breaks, and the breaks are always right in a wooded area or a tree broken, or I see a lot in my area, birch trees that are broken and facing into a clearing right next to the highway. And I notice as I pass all these different signs that they're always right there in a thickly wooded area. So now what I'm saying is, of course, there's trees in a thickly wooded area, but my point being, I could go, once I get near like an underpass or something like that, there's still trees right there, but I don't see any breaks. It almost seems like if Sasquatch was to follow tree breaks to a major highway, right? And it looks out and it's 3 a.m. and there's no traffic coming, that it will just book it across the highway. And it can spot a tree break or a fallen log that was intentionally placed by another Sasquatch, or even itself, just to remind itself this is come in this way. And that's just something that I see in my travels. I wonder what you guys thought about it. If you ever travel down a road or a highway or main road, maybe not a main road, but highways and some back roads where you'll see sign right next to the street. And it's almost like if you'll see a tree break on one side, you can almost guaranteed look across the way, especially on the highway, and look across the highway, and you'll see something on the other side of the highway, like a crossing area type thing. Also, some sightings and stuff like that are on roads, and it makes you wonder, are they playing chicken sometimes? They wait for a car just to freak someone out on some rural back road somewhere, and they're sitting on the side of the road. You can't tell me they don't hear a car coming or see the headlights, and they just mysteriously get caught out in the middle of the road. I think, they possibly just could be messing around. I don't know. Maybe that's not a game that they would play just because of their self-preservation. But who knows? It's when I was a kid, we used to play chicken with cars and run across the street real quick and freak someone out driving by. But just a thing. And about them swimming, I've seen some videos and heard people talk about them swimming, and I never ever gave that a thought about them entering a waterway. Never in a million years. And when someone had commented when I did Bigfoot in Massachusetts, or Massachusetts is big enough for Bigfoot, in that someone had commented, well, how would they cross a river, or how would they get over towards the Cape, or, cross the canal or something like that. And someone had left a comment on that comment saying, well, Bigfoot will swim, or the possibility is there that Sasquatch will swim across the water. And that's something I never gave thought to, never once pictured them swimming. Do they do the breaststroke, or they do the backstroke, or the dog paddle through the water? I don't know. It's something that I would be amazed to ever see something like that. That's something. Leave a comment if you have an opinion on that. This one interests me a ton. Their health, Bigfoot's health, how they stay healthy, and if they do, are they sickly? Are a lot of them sick because they have no way to get themselves healthy once they're sick? And something that I had thought of was herbal remedies, how the Native Americans knew what plants and flowers to eat and things like this, and aloe plants for injuries and things like that. And if Bigfoot, I would say they most likely know about these type things, you know. Or, right, kind of wrote this down, or do they have, like, are some Bigfoot health nuts? You know, are there Sasquatch out there that are vegan? and, you know, they're looking at their buddies going, oh, man, you're terrible. You eat meat, you carnivore, right? And you've got these other Bigfoot out there that just are on a maybe an all plant-based diet or something like that, or I don't know. But, you know, I would think that they got to have a knowledge of plants in their area for herbal remedies and such. Now the next question is really another question that fascinates me, and this is something I just kind of was thinking of lately, the past couple months, of how do they control their numbers, their population? Do they have some kind of herbal birth control? Or, I mean, I know I'm going to get killed for this one in the comments, but there's got to be a way. I mean, is it natural selection? Is there a sickness out there where a Bigfoot life expectancy is only, 30 years old or something like that, or less? Maybe a grown adult Bigfoot lives to be 25. I mean, who knows? But for 1,000 years, if they've been around, and their numbers have to, especially with no way to control it, you would think that the population would explode, and that could account for maybe the amount of sightings that have been recorded in the recent, the past 50 years or so. I think with the advent also, of course, of social media, and everybody has a camera in their back pocket, I think lends to that, to the amount of sightings and stuff like that. But how can they control that? You would think the population would explode. I mean, there's no hunting, so we hunt deer and stuff. I know in Massachusetts here that they'll have like Blue Hills in right near Boston, for instance, is an area where every year they'll have a large number of tags that they'll give out to hunters, because what will happen is the population is exploding and they're crossing roads, they're causing accidents, there's deer carcasses in the road all the time, so they keep that population down also for the preservation of the deer, because they'll out-eat an area. If there's too many, there'll be no food and they'll all starve. So it's almost like a necessary evil kind of to hunt deer, I'm speaking of. So what does Sasquatch do about that? Do they have a method somehow of controlling their population? So that's it, guys. Short video, and if you could leave some comments, I'd really appreciate that, because it really interests me on, especially the population control. That's a huge one. And then and Bigfoot swimming. I've heard that just a small handful of times that people have seen possibly a Bigfoot swimming. Really, really interesting stuff. But thank you so much, guys, for coming by. I do appreciate it, and I'll definitely see you on the next one.